All right, we live. 1 second. Let me get my tablet up and going. 1 second, fam. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. All right. All right. Billy Hall. What up, Dollar Bill? That's my best friend, Dollar Bill. Right? Me and Dollar Bill then grew up together. His parents was like my de facto parents. Went to junior high and high school together. But I don't know if we was in elementary together. My memory kind of bad. But yeah, what's up, Bill? Glad you checking in. I'm only gonna be live for about 20 minutes. What's happening? Neb Keparur. Tut Uncommon. What's happening, Chris Connors? One of my faithful YouTube subscribers. Love me some Chris Connors. I know I screwed your name up. Neb Keparuri Toot Uncommon. Oh man. So I just wanted to go live real quick because I was just doing a little research. And what's up, Colt boy? Man, all praises due to Tutankhamun. All praises due. Thank you for your generosity. Do you live in California? Are you in California right now? Because it says CA20. What's up, Brass? Try Media up in the house. Everybody subscribe to Try Media. Everybody subscribe to Carnivorous Podcast. Chef Ron Antu Ale. Love you too. I appreciate the support. I appreciate your donations every time you do it, man. Whether it's $1, $2, $10, $50, I'm appreciative. OG Donnie Williams up in here. Hey y'all. I'm not gonna be long. This is gonna be about 20 minutes. I'm gonna run through this. I said let me just share this because I mentioned it before, but I don't think people took heed or understand what I said. What I said, right? When I made this video called Black Egypt Debunked 4 years ago, in the video I said we are not desert Africans. We are tropical Africans. I also said we are forest people. We're a forest African, right? When I went to Ghana, I appreciate you, Brass. All praises due to Tri Media and OG Brass. We bending the knee for his kindness today. All praises due to Brass, right? Thank you too, Donnie, because Donnie's a subscriber to my channel. You know, I have subscriptions. You guys can subscribe now to my channel. And it's like a little monthly fee. So this video is not about anybody personally, right? This is just some education for black folk. Let you know where you from, right? What part of Africa you from, right? So I remember when I said we are tropical Africans, people was a little confused. In general, just in general, tropical Africa is sub-Saharan Africa. That's tropical Africa in general. Besides a few spots in South Africa. Other than that, sub-Saharan Africa is tropical Africa. Now, African Americans or Black Americans are tropical Africans, and we are forest people. We come from forest lands. Western Central Africa, the Congo, Ghana, Nigeria are forest lands in Africa, right? Show improved, Chief X. By the way, it's beef liver. Y'all don't fuck with liver? I get this from Smart and Final, also Ralph's have it, and they come in 4 packs. A thin piece of liver in 4 packs. That's wrapped tightly in plastic, right? And I learned a trick, right? I become a lightweight cook. I be getting down in my kitchen, and I learned the trick when cooking liver, right? I was told to soak your liver in milk for at least 2 hours or overnight. I said, soak it in milk. None of my family members ever done that. And it takes away the bitterness. It draws out the impurities, right? And some of the blood, right? And I said, are you serious? So I soaked it in milk for a couple hours, ended up about 4 hours. And I took it out, damped it clean, right? Seasoned the liver, right? Threw some flour over the liver and fried it on medium, maybe about 10 minutes. Man, liver never tasted so good. You do know liver is the most nutrient dense food on planet Earth. Kind of by far. So I've adopted eating liver just for health purposes. You see my skin is shining. You see I'm looking strong. Appreciate you. I appreciate the donation, Tunde. Man, y'all being generous today. Tunde, Brass, Tutankhamun, right? Y'all been nice today. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And good protein. One of these liver things has 23 grams of protein, which is pretty high for a small piece of thin liver, right? Man, you can live your whole life on liver, water, and eggs. The second most nutrient dense food, it's a kind of a toss up between eggs, specifically pasture raised eggs, and salmon. Sardines is in the top 5, salmon, liver, and eggs. Yes, it is. Type in what's the most nutrient dense food on earth, and liver gonna pop up. Now let me get into this. I don't want to be too long today. I said I'm gonna be 20 minutes. I've already been running my mouth for damn 8 minutes. Okay, so let me share my screen. We're gonna be here. It's gonna be a short presentation today. Oops. All right, here we go. First of all, I want to make this clear. All people aren't seafaring people, and it's okay. If you live in a landlocked area of Africa, if you're landlocked, you're not a seafaring people. There are no seas or oceans around you for you to navigate. If there's a river in your land, that still doesn't mean you're seafaring people, right? So I had to clear this up because somebody was confused, right? And they thought I was knocking Nubians and knocking a lot of sub-Saharan Africans, but I wasn't. I'm just telling you the reality. Nubians were not primarily known as seafaring people. They were skilled navigating the Nile River and were involved in trade and cultural exchange with other riverine land-based civilizations. Okay? Nubian civilizations were centered around the Nile Valley, right? Okay? Now, I also said, and I had an argument with Smash Rockwell one time. I said Nubians couldn't really travel up the Nile River freely. There were 6 cataracts, which obstructs travel up and down the Nile freely. The only people who were able to freely go up and down the Nile were the ancient Egyptians. They didn't have any cataracts that obstructed their navigation, right? So Nubians primarily traded with Egypt by what? Land routes. Okay? Let's go more deeply into that. Why, Chief X? So this guy is going to give a 37-second, while he's on the Nile, 37-second explanation of cataracts and how cataracts protected Egypt from invaders. The only people coming from the south was invaders to Egypt, right? Listen.
Egypt is quite unique when it comes to geographic isolation. Now, to the north, the Mediterranean, you have the Sahara, and down you have the cataracts. You have the Sahara, and down you have the cataracts.
He said cataracts. He has a deep accent.
It made the river unnavigable.
He said they made the river unnavigable. Okay?
Cannot navigate. And you have the Sahara, and down you have the cataracts. It made the river unnavigable. You cannot navigate, and that's a key for the protection of Egypt at
You
a
cannot navigate, and it was key for the protection of Egypt, he says.
border city like Aswan. At the southern frontier, you need to protect Egypt.
By the way, Aswan is where the first cataract is.
Do you? Well, you have the cataract on the Nile, and the Nile was a super highway for the Egyptians. And you have the cataract on the Nile, and the Nile was a super highway for the Egyptians.
He said the Nile was a super highway for the Egyptians, not the Nubians. There were way too many cataracts, and we're going to show you an image in a second.
And if you have the cataracts, outcrops of granite, they are going to stop navigation. That's perfect for the ancient Egyptian empire.
Now, let me show you a picture of what I mean. This is the Nile River and all the cataracts. Number one, right here at Aswan, right? 2, Wadi Halfa. 3, Dongolo. 4, Napata. 5, between Napata and Meroe, right? Meroe is where below Meroe, south of Meroe is the 6th one. Then you get down here, way deep down here, there go Khartoum. Now, the Nile River, as you see, goes kind of zigzaggy. Then it goes up. And then you would have to travel and go against the grain, go backwards hundreds of miles. You see what my hand is? Can y'all see my hand on this? Oops. You would have to go downward hundreds of miles, going all out your way, wasting time and days, right? Then you go up and you end up by Cataract 1. But all in between here, these cataracts, which is like shallow waters, rocks and shit, you've been and tore a boat up through all that shallow rock, water and rocks and shit, right? But also in between the cataracts, there's also shallow waters and rocks, not just at the cataracts. So these cataracts made it unnavigable for Nubians. This is why they did land trade. Are you with me so far? Okay. So now, one of the land areas is a place called Darb el Arbain. I guess that's how you pronounce it, right? It was indeed used for trade in ancient Egypt. It served as a vital land route for connecting Nubia, present-day Sudan, and Egypt, facilitating exchange of goods like gold, ivory, spices, wheat, animals, plants. The route stretched from Karga in the south to Assuit in the north, right? I don't want to go into too much detail. That's just it. Now, when you go to Wikipedia and you read about that spot, it tells you the same. Darb el Arben, right? They also called it the 40 days road because it took a long motherfucking time to do trade and travel in this desert on land. Because why? Because the river was unnavigable for Nubians, but not for Egyptians. It's not a shot, that's just a reality. For the number of days of the journey it was said to take in antiquity, right? It takes a fucking long time, right? It's the easternmost great north-south trans-Saharan trade route, right? Just so you understand, right? They used to move trade goods. They used with livestock, camels, donkeys, cattle, and horses, right? And slaves, right? They had slaves on these routes transporting slaves in the trans-Saharan trade routes, this is, right? Okay. Even in antiquity, they had slaves. Okay? Now, for you to understand a little more, right? Cataracts, the cataracts of the Nile are shallow lengths or whitewater rapids of the Nile River between Khartoum, as I showed you, and Aswan, right? Even the map on the right, Khartoum and Aswan, right? Um, where the surface of the water is broken by many small boulders and stones jutting out of the riverbed, as well as many rocket islets. In some places, these stretches are punctuated by whitewater, while others have water flow is smoother but still shallow. Okay, now something else I want to show you here real quick, and we're gonna move forward. Um, Here it go. Okay, this might be it. In ancient times, Upper Egypt extended from south of the delta to the first cataract, while that's not it. The land was controlled. The land was controlled by the ancient kingdom of Kush. This is why I kind of stopped using Nubians and I say Kushites now, because Nubians is such a mixed up population of different type of peoples and admixtures, and there's the Nuba people, there's Nubians, there's the Nuba Mountains. It gets confusing. So I just started saying the kingdom of Kush or Kushites, which was the first black nation state in sub-Saharan Africa, was the kingdom of Kush. So let's just call them Kushites, right? The land was controlled by the ancient kingdom of Kush that would take over Egypt from 760 to 656 BC. Besides the Kushite invasion, for most of Egyptian history, the Nile's cataract, particularly the first cataract, primarily served as a natural border to prevent most crossings from the south. So the only thing coming from the south was Egypt's enemies or invaders, not Egyptians. Okay? As those in said region would rely on river travel to venture north and south. This allowed Egypt's southern border to be relatively protected from invasions. Right? So, besides the brief Kushite rule, it remained a natural border for most of Egyptians' history. Just letting you know what a cataract is. Okay? Now, just so you know, the Nile River cataracts did provide some protection for ancient Egyptians by acting as natural barriers against who? Invaders coming from the south. Okay? Um, Past that, I talked about that. Now, in the title I have, Black Americans are from Forest Africa. Sub-Saharan Africans were not in the Green Sahara. While some Sub-Saharan African ancestors found in modern North Africans, right? The ancient inhabitants of the Green Sahara were primarily were not primarily of Sub-Saharan Africans, right? So then they go into the genetic analysis of this new human or humans they found in uh, 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 um, the Green Sahara part of Africa, right? Um, One thing I learned today, when you talk about the African human period, by the way, sub-Saharan Africans were further south. They weren't in the Green Sahara. They weren't in the African human period. They were way further south in forest areas like the Congo, Ghana, Nigeria. So all that shit cat's been talking about, oh, they came from the Green Sahara and migrated all the way east to the Nile. Them wasn't sub-Saharan Africans and black folk. Not really, right? So let's move on. Despite the Green Sahara period, which transformed the Sahara Desert into a lush, habitable environment, ancient DNA analysis reveals that genetic mixing between North African populations and sub Saharan Africans remained limited. It remained limited during the African human period, the Green Sahara period, and it remained limited during the, the dry Sahara periods. Meaning sub-Saharan Africans and North Africans was not fucking. You get it? This finding challenges the long-held assumption that the Green Sahara facilitated large-scale gene flow across the continent, according to anthropology.net. Not Chief X, according to anthropology.net. Right? So they were not in the Green Sahara, right? Sub-Saharan Africans historically resided south of the Green Sahara period. Our ancestors was in forest areas. We resided south of the Green Sahara period, which was a time of increased rainfall and vegetation in what is now the Sahara Desert, right? Right? So it's letting you know, hey, your sub-Saharan African ass resided south of the Green Sahara, not in the Green Sahara. So all these cats running off at the mouth have been wrong for 4 to 5 years. Ironic, but they science people. So what? Ghana, Nigeria, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo are home to what? Significant forest areas in Africa. When I went to Ghana, I was in the rainforest. I felt so at home in the rainforest in Ghana. Something hit me and said, "This is where you pull." I said, "I want to move up in the rainforest I was at." That's where y'all seen me in that picture with the Amazigh chick, right? The Republic of Congo holds the largest portion of the Congo Basin forest, which are the second largest tropical rainforest globally. I believe the first largest tropical rainforest is the Amazon in Brazil. Congo second, right? Now, yes, the term African human period, the Great Sahara, primarily refers to a period, check this out, of significantly increased moisture that occurred across northern and eastern Africa. Say that again, Chief X. Listening comprehension, people. That occurred across northern and eastern Africa during the Holocene epoch. It doesn't say West Africa. It don't say South Africa. It don't say nothing about the forest area where we came from. So this is what I learned today. Not only is it called the African human period, the Green Sahara, They have another term called what? North African Human Period. This is why in the Sahara, this new genetic study said they were related to North Africans. If I'm saying this right, I'll go back and read it. But it was it was found to be people related to basically modern day North Africans of today. Not us, not us black folk, not us black Americans. Because why? We weren't in North African human period. We was in forest areas. Now, I had to look it up. I said, what? Because I didn't know that was another name for it. See, I'm honest. I'm not acting like I'm some genius and always knew this. North African human periods over the past 800,000 years, over the past million years, really. They just talking about the changes of the Green Sahara over a million years' time. And they called it North African human periods. I told you niggas, North Africa has never, ever, 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 ever been black Africa. Never. It's some more information I was going to. They was talking about migrating in and out the continent of Africa to that corridor and by Egypt into West Asia and shit. Migration and back migration. We were never part of the African human period. You know why I said it also? This is about the end of the lecture. This is the end of the lecture. So we can start saying a North African human period now. It's just our history. Like, right? Like, I've never heard no one kick no history like this and explain things like this because we too much in competition. And we forest people. I'm from the forest. I'm a proud West Central African from forest Africa. I'm not from desert Africa. It's okay, people. We're not from the lands of North Africa. We're not from the lands of East Africa or none of that. And Egypt is not in East Africa. You Google, they're going to tell you, get the fuck out of here. But it's situated geographically in the northeast corner it sits. But Egypt is not in East Africa. Understand what I'm saying? If you go to a map and pull up East African countries, Egypt is not one of them. Even though it sits in the northeast corner, it's not part of East Africa. So it's a word game being played when people want to say Northeast Africa. So, like, real quick, people, let me do this and we're going to get out of here. Hold on. So, like, why are we playing games, right? Let me just share this and we're going to get out of here. This is East Africa. Egypt is not a part of East Africa. Don't even relate Egypt to East Africa because you're doing people a disservice and you're miseducating people. I don't say Egypt is in Northeast Africa because that's not proper to say. It's proper to say Egypt is situated in the northeast corner of Africa, but Egypt is not part of, it's not East Africa. Do you get the word play? So don't let people trip up your thinking. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda is East Africa. Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somali is East Africa, not Egypt. right? Let's get that straight. And this last thing before we get out of here. When they show pictures of North Africa, you'll see images like this, right? But trip this, people. Hold on. Let me show one more image and holler at y'all. We're gonna get out of here real quick. I didn't want to be here long today. We had 30 minutes. Okay. Um how can I couch this? Um 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 One second. How can I couch this? um you know what? I don't need to go there. Don't even trip. Appreciate you, Sam. I try to be honest. Right? But you say that it be all word games. Right? Let me just read a few comments. Hit the like button. You heard her. Heard him. Get the damn likes up. Appreciate you, Sam. Now, if I spew some misinformation, once I find out I was wrong, that day or the next day, I'm gonna correct myself and say, "Hey, excuse me, I was wrong about this." I'll make a video say, "Hey, I apologize, I was wrong about this or that." That's just how I get down. You won't see too many people apologizing and saying they were wrong. What do you say, my pseudo cookbook? Look, I've been cooking my ass off. Hold on, I got my pajamas on, so let me take the camera. I've been cooking my ass off up in here. I've been cooking for me and my son, right? My son stays with me like 3 days a week. So he wants to travel so far to his mom's house because I'm closer to his job, right? So I got my little sweetie pie cookbook. And she got some good shit up in here. And sweetie pie's cookbook. But this is a cookbook right here I really like. It's just an old school American cookbook and it's thick. And any instructions you need about cooking, hold on, is in Betty Crocker's cookbook. Like American Pie. Betty Crocker's cookbook is cracking. I'm telling you. Some good old American recipes. So I got my black American shit and I got my white American shit. All right, so let me just read a few more comments. Um, I appreciate the people who donated. Right, this wasn't gonna be long. What's up, Bill? Before I get up out of here, no, it's my best friend Bill, trying to get some knowledge today. All right, that's about it. Peace. I'm out.